Love is in the air. Brownies. Hey y'all, it's April. Thanks for stopping by my crazy creative life. In today's video, I'm trying to kind of do, I guess you could say, kill two birds with one stone. I'm trying to do two videos, but it's gonna, well, it's one video, but it's gonna serve two purposes. I'm wanting to try to do some brownies for Valentine's Day and kind of make them, you know, all pretty, and I may even cut them out in hearts. We'll see how that goes, but at least we'll do some sprinkles and stuff to make them pretty for Valentine's Day. But there is also a sourdough brownie that I really want to try to make. So my plan is, if it works out, that is, I'm going to try to do this homemade sourdough brownie. I have a box brownie mix, so I'm going to make the sourdough brownies. I'm going to make the box brownies and compare the two, see which one I think's better. And I hope when my family comes home, I'm hoping to let them do like a sort of a blind taste test and see which one that they can tell or even like better. Sourdough brownie versus the store-bought box brownie. So if that sounds fun or interesting, keep watching, and let's go ahead and jump on into the video right now. Alright, my oven is not on yet. I mean, my oven's on, sorry, my stove top is not on. I've got my scale out. So it calls for 1 stick of unsalted butter, or 8 tablespoons, or 113 grams. 12 ounces of chocolate chips, and I've already measured these out, so they should be 12. Yep. Let's clear that. Then it calls for half a cup of Dutch cocoa powder or regular cocoa powder. Dutch is a little more chocolatey, or 40 grams. So I'm going to go by grams. Tell you what, I'm going to go by grams this way in case. See, this is why I didn't want to do the 40 grams in my pot over there. Okay, there's 40 right on the money. Ordinarily with cocoa powder like this, I would sift it, but since I measured it by grams for 1, and for 2, this is going to be melted, then I'm not worrying about sifting this. Okay, so let's turn our oven on about medium-low, and we're going to let all this melt down. While we are waiting on and keeping a close eye on our chocolate butter mixture to melt, we're going to go ahead and add the eggs and the sugar, and we're going to whip them together real quick. This calls for 2 eggs and an egg yolk. There's 1 egg, 2 large eggs, and then an egg yolk. There's the whole yolk. Let me wash my hands. So we're going to beat that with so I need 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar. Then we need half a cup or 110 grams of brown sugar. It says dark brown sugar. All I've got is light, but it should be okay. Okay, we're going to cream that together really good. Then it says to put your sourdough starter in here. It's a half a cup. Let me measure this and just make sure it's right. 125 grams of sourdough starter, or half a cup. Okay. Good deal. We need a teaspoon or 5 grams of salt. Do yourself a favor. She had put on there to melt the butter before you add the cocoa and the chocolate chips. I should have done that. I didn't really pay attention to what she said, and now I wish I had it, because you run the risk of the chocolate burning, getting too hot, or it trying to seize up on you. So go little at a time with this chocolate so we don't Finally, it calls for a cup of all-purpose flour or 120 grams. So 120 grams. You can go ahead and sift this prior. This flour is pretty soft, so I'm not worrying about it. But 120, not 126, April. Let's see. Okay, there's 120. She said just to fold the flour in. You're going to put this in an 8x8 or a 9x9 pan. This one is a 9x9. Spray it really good with spray, or you can take some oil and rub it in there with a paper towel. Your oven should be preheated to 350 degrees. It looks good. Okay, it says to bake for 30 to 45 minutes. So let's go ahead and put it in the oven. I'm going to start off with 30 and then see, but it says to bake it 30 to 45 minutes. No, 35 to 40 minutes. I'm going to start it on 30 and then kind of go from there. All right, so step 2, I'm just going to make these brownies, the boxed brownies, just as it says on the directions on the back. I'm not altering it in any way, with the exception I'm going to put some Valentine sprinkles on these. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're just going to dump in the mix. Calls for half cup of oil, 2 tablespoons of water, 2 large eggs. You can beat these with your electric mixer, or you can, for brownies, you can just take a wire whisk and whip them up. It's not like a boxed cake. This is a little bit more of a recipe, has a little bit more to it than the other one. This is a 13 by 9 inch pan. Alright, y'all, this one I am putting Valentine sprinkles. I'm only putting it on half of these brownies because my husband, if it's got a sprinkle on it, he won't touch it. So for him to be able to eat some, and he's a big brownie person, which we all love brownies, but he certainly loves brownies. Okay, this also goes in the oven at 350 for about 17 to 20 minutes, so just kind of check on it. I think I pulled this out at 20 minutes, and when I felt under it, it feels like water is under it, so I know it's not done. I still go ahead and do the toothpick test, and you can tell it's really, really doughy. So I put it back in the oven, I think at that time, for 10 more minutes. The timer went off again, and I'm pulling them both out, and I'm going to kind of feel both. They feel a little bit spongy, and they feel like they're okay. That's kind of a bounce back. I'm still a little unsure about the thick one, the sourdough one, but I go ahead and pull them out and try to do the toothpick test again. It's still pretty doughy, which of course this brownie was pretty thick. I would rather have done it in the 9 by 13 pan. Anyway, I go ahead and stick it back in the oven for a few more minutes. But this one, you can tell it's done. I put that in there 3 more minutes. Now, you're going to want it to feel soft and have like a bounce when you touch it. This one's a little more, I guess, dense, you could say, or harder, and that's probably because this pan is bigger. It probably would have went into a 13 by 9 inch pan as well. It really depends on how thick you like your brownies. These are going to be pretty thick. These are going to be somewhat thin. But you want sort of a bounce. But now when you touch it and it almost feels like water is under it, like a water bed, if you know what I'm talking about, a water bed, then put it back in there. I only put them back in there 3 more minutes, so I guess it cooked, let's see, I had them in there 30 minutes, then I put them back in there for 9, and then 3, so it's 39, 40, 41, 42. So roughly about 42 minutes altogether is what I had that baked. Now, if you bake it though in a bigger pan, I would only bake these 20-25 minutes, about like those. All right, let's give these a little try. I just want to crumble everywhere. See if I can get a fair looking piece. There we go. There we go. Now this one, I want to try something. Can you see this one? All right, just a refresher, the one I just cut, that's the box one. This one is the sourdough one. Okay, those are definitely gooey. Actually, they probably could have cooked a little bit longer. Or if you're all watching this and you want to make them, put them in that 9 by 13 pan. I think that's just too much for one brownie. I mean, look, they're still not completely done. So do that one. But I wanted to try to cut these out, see if I could. Okay, somewhat. All right. See what I'm doing? This one in a little bit. I might either dip it in some chocolate and then dip them in some sprinkles. That's a way that you could, you know, just dip them in a little bit of melted chocolate, and then when that chocolate is melted and all gooey, then stick it in some sprinkles, and you could like do the corner of that. You could take some, just that red food coloring, the kind, just that gel food, not food coloring, the icing that they just sell over the counter at Walmart, like in the bakery part. You could take some red and just outline that, or put little dots. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could do just to make it look even more Valentine-y. But so I'm going to try the cutaway part of that one brownie, which is right here. This is the sourdough brownie. It's really rich, and it is very gooey, and I think because it said to cook it in that 9 by 9 pan, if I do these again, I will not do a 9 by 9 pan. That's too thick. I don't like brownies that thick. If that's your thing, then, you know, go ahead, just bake them a little bit longer, 5 to 10 minutes longer at least, if you cook them that thick. But they're not bad. To me, they could use just a little bit more sugar, but I probably have a sweeter tooth more than most people. Let me try one more time. I don't really taste the sourdough, which I guess that could be a, depends on if you like sourdough or not. That could be a plus or a minus, I guess. But if you did dip those in chocolate, like I said, and add the sprinkles to it, that would bring that sweetness level up a little bit. Well, honestly, to me that's not as sweet as, I think there's something going on with my taste buds. That's not a good thing for a cook, is it? It's like my food tastes weird anymore. But I'm gonna be quite honest. This sourdough one, I like it better. I mean, they both aren't super duper sweet. And at first I wasn't sure because it's really rich chocolatey flavor, probably because of that cocoa plus the chocolate chips. I like the homemade one better than that box one. Box one is by far easier. But the sourdough one wasn't too hard. And even though this has, you know, sugar in it and stuff and the butter, it still does have the sourdough in it, which that is beneficial to our body. Whereas this one, it's easy, but it has all sorts of preservatives and chemicals and stuff like that in it. So sometimes, if you've got the time anyway, it's better to go the just a little bit longer, harder route than it is the quicker route if you've got the time. But I do like these better. That's thick. So if you like a thick brownie, like I said, that's fine. You know, you put it in that 9x9 little pan. But it did make a cute little heart though. But I do like it just a little bit thinner than that. So that's just my opinion. That's my thoughts. So anyway, I'll shut up gabbing and let you all go and enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know whenever I post more videos. And don't forget about this coming Thursday, which is February 1st. We will be doing the giveaway. All right. I hope y'all have a blessed rest of your day. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. Hey, if you like this video, you may want to check out my previous video or my previous series. Talk to you soon.